you're not doing anything wrong. In fact, you're doing everything you need to be doing in order to achieve the success that you desire. What you need to do is more of those things with greater intentionality and dedicate a longer period of time. What do I mean? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Fresh back from Iowa.
I know. Shout out Iowa. Shout out Arch MI.
Yes, Nick Mundorf
Shout
and
out, Nick.
crew, Joe Doyle and crew.
Thank you.
Like, we had a great time.
Yeah, it was nice. It was
Like-
a beautiful golf course. Shout out Zach Johnson.
Yes, it was actually Zach Johnson's home course,
Yeah.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They call it the CR. Learned that while we were up there.
There you go.
Home of Quaker.
I know.
Yes, we learned, this is pretty cool. So Quaker makes Captain Crunch cereal. And we learned while being up there that one day a week, which is kind of gross if you think about it, one day a week, I mean, one day a year. One day a year, they basically make Captain Crunch cereal, the berries, and the whole entire town
Smells like Captain Crunch berries.
smells like Captain
I
Crunch
know.
berries.
You learned that because you like talking to Uber drivers and cab drivers. I stay silent.
Yes. You know what you learned, I don't know if you remember this, walking back to the hotel, you were talking about the smell in the air that wasn't.
Smells like oh yeah.
Yes. Well, you know why that is, though?
Yeah,
Cedar Rapids is like the number one processor of corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they process corn, and therefore all of that manufacturing sometimes makes the air smell a little bit sulfur-esque. But I didn't smell it except for
Smelled like ass cheeks.
barely late at night.
I did step out of the car prior to dinner though, and I stepped in the grass and it smells like bubblegum. So there's all kinds of smells you can get in Cedar Rapids apparently.
But I will, I want to give a shout out to Nick Mundorf because I walked in and I looked at the panel because we did a top producing realtor panel, top producing loan officer panel. We had someone giving a market update, someone from Arch MI, and then I closed us out with my originators formula for success, right? It's a 1 hour workshops themed keynote. But that panel, like today, when this drops, you and I are in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are at Mastermind Summit. We've been talking about it for 6 months. And hopefully yesterday I rocked the house.
I bet you did, Dustin.
That's the goal, right? The goal is not to suck.
Yeah.
And then the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal is to rock the house.
Yeah.
And hopefully if everything went well, we would have podcast with Shayla Gifford.
Yeah.
With Shot from Guaranteed Rate. And quite possibly, I'm working on this, Phil Jones, author of the national best-selling book, Exactly What to Say.
There you go.
EWTS. So hopefully all that went down. But when we were in Iowa and I looked at that panel, like I said to you and I said to Nick and I said to anyone else, I'm like, damn, there are people who are flying across country going to a mastermind summit where we paid really good money to be a part of a phenomenal event where the people in Cedar Rapids, they were able to have a phenomenal half-day event for free.
Yeah.
Thanks to all the sponsors and thanks to Nick and Arch MI. So nonetheless, thank you everyone. We enjoyed being there. Yeah. Today's episode 100% was the inspiration of a conversation you had with your buddy. Shout out to Troy.
Shout out Troy Holmes if you actually listen to these damn podcasts like you say you do.
It was a conversation I had today, a one-on-one with one of our coaching students. Our TLOP launch, the LO launch, we just graduated. Right. Yes. Yeah. So there is 8 mortgage professionals who went through this intensive 16-week coaching course with me. And yesterday was graduation, something that when people go through this course, they get 2 one-on-ones with me. So I was doing one of the one-on-ones that someone had structured. So a little of today's episode is based on that one-on-one. And then a lot of it was actually conversations that I had yesterday during our kind of end of course conversation coaching session. And like many things, I'm like, wait a minute, that would make a great podcast episode.
And here we are.
And here we are. So I don't know which direction we want to take it and where we want to start, but I'm going to start this way. Then I'm going to let you ask questions.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing that came up over the past couple of days, speaking to mortgage sales professionals throughout the country, right? I'm talking literally New York, to Idaho, all the way down to Florida, everywhere in between, where these conversations are coming from. And the conversation of networking came up. And the question was, hey, Dio, am I doing this right? I was like, ooh, that's loaded. Like, am I doing it right? It's arbitrary. Like, what does right mean to John? What does right mean to Dustin? There's typically never one right way. Yeah, there's definitely personal preferences and there's patterns that we want to follow. We talk about success leaves footprints and we want to follow in those footprints. But what does right mean? I said, well, walk me through what you're doing. So she walks me through everything that she's doing. And I was like, okay, so you're going to networking functions and what are you doing? She goes, I'm going to networking functions and I make it a point, which I was like, damn, this is pretty badass. I make it a point that I'm not going to leave there until I've at least had 10 conversations. Okay. So she puts a number on it.
Wow.
I was like, okay. Yeah. Like, and 10's a big number in my opinion, that's my experience. And I go, so what happens? She goes, so then I hand them my card. I receive their card. She goes, because I need their card. That's her validation that she did her job. We have a decent conversation. It's usually small talk. And then the next day I'm following up with a handwritten thank you note or an email, or I'm connecting them with social. And my whole goal is to get them one-on-one. I'm like, yep, you're doing everything right. Like if she was asking me, am I doing everything right? You're doing everything right. I go, what else are you doing? She goes, well, I'm going to open houses. I was like, cool. You know, like, walk me through what that looks like to you. And she walks me through. I make sure I ask good questions. They're open-ended questions. I make it about them, not about me. I make it, me fact-finding. Yeah. I'm doing most of the question asking. They're doing most of the talking. And then I'm following up with them, connecting on social, an email on Monday, trying to get a one-on-one. And a one-on-one for her could be a Zoom to Zoom. It doesn't have to be like a true face-to-face, belly-to-belly. And I was like, all right, well, that works too. And I said, well, how often are you doing this? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, like, how many people have you actually met face-to-face? And how many people, like, have you gone out to the networking functions and the open houses? And she goes, well, probably about 16 I've met face-to-face. And I'm doing one networking function a month, and I'm hitting open houses once a month. I was like, oh my gosh. It sounds like you're doing everything right. You're just not doing enough of it. It sounds like you're doing everything right, but you haven't allowed time to do its thing, right? Because that's where we're looking for compound. We talk about compound interest all the time. We teach our borrowers about compound interest, right? That's the whole rule of 72. If you had $10,000 invested and you were earning an 8% rate of return, if you wanted to figure out how often your money's going to double, it's real simple. Take 8, that's your rate of return, average, divide it into 72. The answer is 9, at least where I come from. 9 times 8 is 72. That tells me that your 10 grand will double. It'll turn into 20 grand every 9 years. And 20 will become 40 in another 9 years. And 40 will become 80 in another 9 years. So in 27 years, 10 grand can become 80 grand as long as it's making 8%. But if you're trying to live off of 8% a year, you can't do it. 10 grand earning you 8% is $800.
Let's go.
Like, what are you going to do with $65 a month?
Got that in my shopping cart right now.
Yeah, not a whole lot. That's going to be one roll tonight on the craps table. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't do us a whole lot of good. That's compound effects. Time, so many times, time I have learned, if I can just give something enough time, I'll achieve the result that I wanted. Like, let's look at losing weight. If I eat healthy one day and I get on the scale, probably not going to like the results. If I eat healthy for 5 days and I get on the scale,
might see a half pound.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the 30 I'm trying to lose. No. If I eat healthy every day for the next 100 days,
then
yeah. And then I turn 100 into 270 days.
It becomes a lifestyle.
And then if I add in a little bit of exercise.
Whoa.
Yes. Like, that's compounding effects of time. So what I shared with this particular student is that, yes, you're doing everything right. But you just have to do more of it, and you have to give it time. Like, consistently keep doing it. Check off your wins every time you go to those networking functions and you receive 10 business cards because you met 10 people. Awesome. Reward yourself. Do something fun, right? I don't know what reward yourself is. Maybe it's, you allow yourself to go to dinner that Friday night. You hire a babysitter, whatever it is. Like, hey, I did my job. I rewarded myself. But reward yourself, but just keep in mind that one time of doing something isn't going to be enough. So it was the time aspect that she needed, and she needed to hear this too. She wasn't doing enough of it. She told me she had 16, and I was like, hey, how long have you been at this gig? And she's like, hardcore, all in? Like, yeah, hardcore, all in, 9 months. I said, 9 months? I mean, I coach loan officers. Like, that's something I've been doing for the past 15 years. And I remember being a rookie loan officer like it was yesterday. And my numbers, they haven't changed. If they've changed, they've gotten a little bit more extreme, meaning you need more, especially in today's market. But I said, look, the goal is 60. You should have met with 60 people face-to-face or Zoom to Zoom within those first 24 weeks of you coming all in and into the industry. Or by the way, this came up in the call yesterday, not the one-on-one. I have people that coach with me that are 10, 15 years in the business, right? But they're trying to go from 20 million a year to 40 million a year in production. Okay, cool. A lot of it is doing these same things. You just have to do it that much more in depth or with that much more intentionality. Mm-hmm. So, you don't go out and reinvent the wheel because you want to do more. You just become more effective, or you increase your cadence in terms of like how many calls are you making, how many events are you attending, how often are you touching your database, et cetera. Right? You just do more of what works. Yeah. So what I learned by talking to the loan officer one-on-one is she wasn't doing it enough and she hadn't given enough time. So my feedback is, sister, you have to get out there and you need to have 50 one-on-ones, Zoomed on Zooms in the next 16 weeks. And then you need to have another 30 by the end of the year. And I just kind of walked her through the numbers. And I think this is where people lose track. Like, oh, I get it. It's a numbers game. I'm like, do you get it? Like, do you really get it? Like, are you hearing me or are you listening?
Hearing, not listening.
Yeah, you're hearing me. Yeah, wah, wah, wah,
That's
wah,
how I made
wah,
it through
wah.
life.
Yeah, but you're not listening. So then we walked through it. And you can cut these numbers a multitude of ways. Ultimately, you'll end up with the same end result. I said, let's say you get out there in the next 12 weeks and you meet with 60 real estate agents, mm-hmm. right? Potential long-term referral sources. How many do you think you needed on a list to call? What do you think the number was?
Shit, I'd be like 200.
200 is a good number. Let's go with 200. Mm-hmm. Yep. I told her 200. Now, are you calling those people one time? And by the way, when I say call, it could be text, it could be DM.
How many times are you touching them, Dustin?
Yes, contacting.
Yeah, contacting.
Yeah, how many times are you contacting?
I called and they didn't pick up, so I left a message, and I might follow up with an email or a text.
Yep. So I said on average 3. Mm-hmm. Some it's one and done. Mm-hmm. One and they scheduled an appointment. One and they shot you down. Whatever the case may be, one and done. Mm-hmm. Some it takes 7. So let's just say 3. So I said to her, it's 600 contacts in the next 6 weeks. Or 12 weeks, 600 contacts. In order to get 75 people to say yes to you. So you start thinking about the failure rate. Like if you said, oh man, I got my feelings hurt because it didn't work out. Well, it means 525 times you reached out and you got no response. Yeah. Or you didn't get the response you wanted, but 75 times you did. Okay, so we start running those numbers. Like 85% of the people are going to not respond to you. Or if they do respond, they're not going to tell you what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. You end up with 75 people who agreed to meet with you, but do you think all 75 met? No, 15 people stood her up.
Yep.
So of the 75, we know 20% are going to be absolute douchebags and stand you up. Now, it wasn't their fault. They didn't do it on purpose. They're just really important, and that meeting wasn't as important to them. So that left you with 60. Of the 60 that are left, by the way, 600 contacts, do have actually 60 people willing to meet with us. And then of those 60, 30 of them were mean. Mm-hmm. They don't like you. They treated you unfairly. Like, let's think worst case. Okay, cool. That left us with 30. So of the 30 who were left, 15 of them are super nice. You'd love to have a drink with them. You may even let them pet sit for you. I don't know. But they're not serious professionals. They don't really have much business to refer you. They're doing this part-time. It's a side hustle, or they too are new and they might not make it. So that left you with 15. Of the 15 that you were left with, Right there, there's 40 transactions over the next 12 months. Oh, right there, that's $120,000 worth of commissions right there. But what does she have to do? She has to do more of what works and do it for a longer period of time. So she wasn't doing it enough, and then she hasn't given herself enough time. But she did everything right in terms of went to the events, had a target in mind, met the people, asked them to do a one-on-one. And then once they have the one-on-one, there's going to be a certain cadence that she's going to have to do to consistently stay top of mind, right? And we coach that over at TLOP, right? Like, you're a part of the TLOP MLO coaching community. I'm coaching these principles. Our coaches follow these principles, and we talk about them pretty openly and pretty consistently. But at which point she knows that she has to do various sales and marketing strategies to stay top of mind, whether it's following her social media best practices, whether it's doing a Friday newsletter, whether it's making her Monday calls or Tuesday status updates, like whatever she's doing, she's consistently staying top of mind, but she has to have enough people. 16 for her, not even close. Yeah, not even close. You got to think about this. She met with 60 people. We said 30 of those 60 were mean, and I'm probably being a little extreme there, but I want to think worst case. We said that 15 were super nice, but they really weren't worth our time in terms of a business relationship. It doesn't mean that these people don't stay in our database, because those 15 that we said were nice but aren't going to do a whole lot of business, they'll get some onesie twosies. Like I coached her up and showed her that after 12 months of doing this, after 12 months, she would end up having about 20 that are consistently referring her enough business that she's closing 40, 45 transactions a year. But then she has another 60 that between those 60, there's somewhere in there 12 transactions.
Right.
We just don't know where those 12 are going to come from, because those aren't the best referral sources. They're good people, right? They like us. We like them. They just don't consistently come across enough people who need our services that they're going to be able to consistently refer us the way that the 20 do. So for her, high five, sister. You're doing everything right. Just do more of it and do it for longer.
Look at you, Dustin. That's inspirational.
Yeah. Something I wanted to talk about.
What was it?
Well, what did you want to talk about?
Nah, what were you about to say?
Networking.
Okay.
Because I kind of teased it, but we haven't gotten into it.
Yeah. So my situation, not me, because I have brains and I didn't become a loan officer, but my loan officer buddy said he took on a loan and, it kind of went left sideways, but he wants to save the deal because he's trying to build a relationship with said realtor. So he's kind of going back and forth, mulling like, why did I take this deal? Is it even worth it? But kind of knowing that eventually it will pay off, because if he saves the deal, he will look good in the eyes of the realtor. So what's like the word of advice you have to give for those individuals that want to take on hard loans, rescue loans, and to impress said party, but is like a good idea, bad idea?
Catch-22 idea.
Yeah.
It's a game time decision idea. It's a follow your gut idea, because it's a slippery slope and a double-edged sword in general. And what I mean by that is this. When you are entering into a new relationship, you're going to be tested. No different than a toddler tests the boundaries with their parent. Mm-hmm. No different than a new puppy tests the boundaries with their new owner. You're going to be tested. I jokingly say it's the mortgage gods making you pay your dues. But it's a realtor saying, hey, I like you and I want to refer you, but you're not ready for my cream puffs. Mm-hmm. I want you to earn it, and they're going to refer you something hard. And you may have entered into the relationship that way. You may have been like, hey, look, try me out. If another lender turns this down, send it my way, because that was just your opportunity to shine, whatever shine means. The problem with it is if it blows up in your face, was it worth all that time? If you get the loan closed, but the person doesn't respect you because they didn't recognize it was a hard loan, was it worth it? And when you're working on nothing but hard loans, what are you not doing? You're not going to that next networking function. You're not making your Tuesday status update calls. You're not making sure you're dominating the ones. You're not planning out what you're going to do over the weekend to market and solicit your services. You're not networking online. There's so many things you're not doing that I get it. I get going out to the real estate community, to the builder community, and saying, my team and I are really good at what we do. I'd love to earn your business. And I love doing turn downs, right? That's a great way. But the double-edged sword is, what happens if you can't get it turned around? What if you can't get it funded? What happens when it consumes so much of your time that you'd have been better off not opening your big fat mouth? You'd have been better off just going out and finding more people who are looking for a good lender who does what you do really well and something that you can streamline in a assembly line process. So I don't have a good answer for that, because I'd be hypocritical if I said that I've never taught, coached, or myself gone out and sold myself as the backup quarterback, as the guy that can do hard loans, the guy that loves doing rescue loans, because I do believe that's where we shine as lenders, is figuring out loans that my 16-year-old high school student of a child couldn't figure out on her own. Figure out loans that technology couldn't just do on the back without needing us. Like we make our money by thinking, by problem solving, by overcoming objections, by handling human emotion. So I don't have.
Well, how about this? Do you have two stories of instances when you were originating loans at a high capacity where, like you did, like, yeah, I remember one time I was trying to impress XYZ realtor and I took on the loan and the shit blew up in my face. Like, do you have like something off the top of your head?
Too many of them.
So
like
pick one.
Without specific names. I mean, yes, it was the beginning of the financial collapse, and I had never worked with county down payment assistance. That's a double underwrite in my market back then, especially. Meaning I underwrote the file, my company underwrote the file, then we sent it off to the county who underwrote our work, and everything's hinging on this person getting their $15,000 down payment assistance. And after we spent 30 days on a hard ass file, right? I was spraying cologne on a turd, or I was polishing a turd, trying to make this thing work. We fight our butts off. We get our underwriting department to sign off on it. We send it to the county. 30 days pass, and the county says no. 30 days pass, the county says no. Buying agent would never refer me ever again. Listing agent smeared my name all over town. I was a young originator who had a baby with a baby on the way, who was living through a financial meltdown. We didn't really know how bad it was at the time, but it was pretty bad. And I was just trying to get a loan in the door. In hindsight, I would have been way better passing, because I missed out on that referral agent continuing to refer me. And I had to do reputation like control or management when it is a pretty top agent in my market was like, do not use this company. Do not use that loan originator. Let me tell you how they screwed me and my seller. Like, come on, y'all. I was trying to help. Turn a no into a yes. I was trying to help a first-time homebuyer become a first-time homebuyer. Unfortunately, I tried too hard. It didn't work out in my favor. And like most mistakes, I cherish them, I learn from them, and I move on.
All right, well, give me one example where, other side of the coin, like you busted your ass, you saved the deal, and they came back around, and that ended up turning into like a fruitful relationship where you got hella leads. Can you recall one of those?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. It was, in fact, loan officers who tune in will absolutely love this. It was a rescue loan where my buyer's agent, referred me to someone, but I wasn't doing their loan. I didn't do their pre-approval. So this dude had went out and found his own financing, and he was buying a, back in the day, nice size home. Like back in the day, it's probably a $400,000 or $500,000 house. Like today, it's probably $1 million house. Yeah. But back then, it was $400,000 or $500,000. And long story short, he's self-employed. He owned 2 pizzerias. And again, my loan officer friends are going to geek out on this. Well, whatever bank or credit union he had gone to had no idea, or maybe they weren't selling to the GSEs, they weren't selling to Fannie and Freddie, and they had their own underwriting guidelines. I don't know the deals, but his tax return showed that he made $36,000 a year. Well, you can't. I don't care where you live. I don't care how low interest rates are. You're not affording a $500,000 house on $3,000 a month.
Let's go.
Yeah, but if you know anything about underwriting guidelines, especially when it comes to conventional conforming loans, because the dude had an 800 credit score, he's putting 20% down. Well, owning 2 pizzerias There's CC's Pizzas, by the way.
Shout out CC Pizza.
Yeah, I used to love that place in high school. Like, that was the spot you would go when you skipped school and just crush it
$5
before football practice. And then wonder at the end of practice, like, God, why do I feel like crap? Yeah, because I crushed CC's Pizza with like half my team from like noon to 3 o'clock before practice because none of us wanted to go to like, U.S. history class or whatever it was that we had in the afternoon. Although I would have gone to U.S. history class. Like, I would have found something else. I probably would have bailed on like PE. Who knows? But anyhow, he owned these 2 pizzerias. Well, he depreciates his equipment. That's allowed. U.S. tax code allows that. At least it allowed it. And when you added back in depreciation, like, restaurant equipment is expensive, especially like pizza ovens and shit like that. Yeah. His income went from $36,000 to $156,000. Well, you give me $12,000, $13,000 a month, you can qualify for a $400,000 mortgage, a $500,000 purchase. So I took that loan in. Now, by the way, that was an easy loan. It was a rescue loan, but think about it. It was easy. I knew my guidelines. Like, I know my shit. I'm looking at it. I have data integrity. I'm running AUS. Get the loan closed in 2 weeks. The lady's name, and shout out to this lady, Lynn Ganster. Lynn then continued to refer me and my team for a decade.
Damn.
Okay, for a decade. Lynn would see my parents, small world. Lynn ended up owning a condo in a place where my parents owned a condo. And somehow they got to talking. And, oh, yeah, my son. Oh, what does your son do? He's a lender. Oh, I'm a realtor. No shit. Like, they found out that, oh, yeah, you're Dustin Owen's kid or parents. And Lynn and I never met. Never met. She lived 45 minutes away. Then she moved an hour and 45 minutes away. We had never met. She consistently and continued to refer in clients because I saved the deal in her listing. And it was just saying yes to a loan and letting people know I did rescues. Now, the difference is that wasn't a hard-ass loan. That wasn't me polishing a turd. That wasn't me jamming a square peg through a round hole.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
I guess this more of the story is you got to do enough of them to know, like, up front if you smell a turd or, like, some perfume.
Yeah. Experience is by far, I mean, it's our biggest attribute. And that's where they talk about, oh, yeah, with age comes wisdom. Yeah, well, with experience comes wisdom. Typically, with age comes experience, and then with experience comes wisdom. But someone could be 38 and be super wise if the past 20 years they've been dedicated to a certain craft. I don't think you have to be in your 60s to be wise. I think in your 60s you have a larger bandwidth of wisdom. But someone 20 years in the same industry, yeah, you're going to pick up that wisdom. My advice to the Troys out there is, man, get out there and make your mistakes. Say yes. I'd rather someone make an aggressive error and get thrown out than make no errors at all. So I think that would be the moral of the story that I get to think through it. It's like you have to say yes. You have to get out there and sell yourself. You have to know that you're a good person who tries hard, who has the right result in mind. And even if it doesn't go your way, even if you're unable to deliver and people are pissed off at you, life moves on. They'll get over it. And even if they don't, who cares? Move on. You know you're a good person. You know you're not a liar. You know you're not unscrupulous. You know how hard you tried. You just maybe said yes to something that you shouldn't have said yes to. But if you had said no, there's no chance that loan would have ever funded. There's no chance that person would have ever become a homeowner. By saying yes, you gave that person that opportunity. So then all you have to make sure you're doing is setting proper expectations. Did everyone know what a cluster F this was going to be, how paperwork intensive this was going to be, how you're going to try your hardest, but you're not as confident with your ability on this loan as you are on the 99 other loans that you're going to fund. And I think that, as we talk it through, would be my advice to someone in that situation, because I sure as hell would never want someone to say, I don't do hard loans. I don't do rescue loans. I'm not willing to be your backup, because you have to be able to do that. But what I would share with them, and I'm now circling back away from Troy and on to, shout out to Sabrina. She knows who she is. So shout out to Sabrina, because that was my conversation. Something I had to share with her that someone had to teach it to me is quit worrying about other people. Like, you do you. Like, worry about other people in terms of, am I delivering value to them? Right? Am I meeting their expectations? But her concerns were, oh, but what if this? What if they think I'm too aggressive? What if they don't like my approach? What if they say I contact them too much? I'm like, who cares? I was like, sister, you got 2 kids that you love. You have a husband that you care about. You have friends that you grew up with. These people aren't your friends. If they become your friends, great. But you don't know them and they don't know you. You're 2 business professionals and you have aligned in the same mission, which is to promote home ownership in the U.S.
Right.
As long as you're a good person and you give it your all and you do like what you say you're going to do and you set proper expectations and you deliver. And by the way, you never stick your head in sand. Like if there's a problem, you'll solve it. Meaning you'll solve it, meaning you'll address it. So you can't worry about other people. If I was talking to Troy, who had the question about, man, what are these realtors going to think? How do I impress them? I took on this hard loan. Now it's going sideways. All they're going to know is how you handled it when it went sideways. And that's all he can control, right? How did you handle it? Were you there? Were you giving updates? Were you giving them confidence that you're giving it your all? And were you setting proper expectations that at the end of the day, you can't control? Some people, even if that loan doesn't close, are still going to be, because I hear these stories all throughout the country. Yo, John, that was awesome. I mean, it sucks that I'm not getting paid and it sucks that the seller's not selling their house. But dude, I loved how you operated. Like you just took the bull by the horns. You owned it. You kept us informed. I need a lender like you. Okay, that happens. But if that's one side of the coin, the other side of the coin is you're a terrible human. Never call me again. I can't believe you did this to me and my seller and the buyer. Okay, that's another side of the coin. You got to let that roll off your back. Some will, some won't. Who cares? Move on. We've done episodes on that. And it's just you're running a business. You're not trying to be the most liked person. You're trying to be one of the best lenders who helps the most home buyers and partners with the most amount of referral sources. I think that's a perspective more people need. Then my last tidbit I wanted to throw into today's episode, and we'll probably just wrap it up after this.
Okay.
And this really came up when we were talking about networking. And my fear in this conversation was that people don't network appropriately. And by appropriately is like, oh, I went to that event, or, oh, I went to the open house. I'm like, yeah? Well, it sucked. I'm like, yeah, what sucked about it? Well, I haven't got anything. I'm like, what were you trying to get? Like a lead, a loan. I'm like, but going to an event?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh.
What'd you do when you got to the event? Nothing. I fucking walked through the doors, got the free glass of champagne, and stood there.
Yeah. I mean, and this is one of my biggest, almost like I question myself as a leader, as a coach, as a sales trainer, like, am I missing something in my explanation that I need to I hate using the word dumb it down, but tweak it, go a little bit more elementary.
Yeah.
Where I have to walk people through step by step. Step 1 is attending the networking function or going to the open house. That's just step 1.
Yeah, I put my business card in the fishbowl and nobody called me back.
Yeah, like, oh, I handed out my business cards. So that's what you'll get. I handed out my business cards. Like, well, no one's called me. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, let's walk through this. And here are the 3 analogies that I use. Yeah. And by the way, bear with me because I always stick with things that make sense to me or that I know or that I find to be a little bit comical. Like, imagine I have this one buddy. And my one buddy's like, Dio, man, I am lonely. I need a girlfriend. I'm like, cool, man, you should hop on some of these dating apps. Like, dude, I'm not going to do that. I'm traditional. I'm old school. I'm like, all right, cool, then go to a bar. Like, I don't know how I've been married 20 years. I don't know how this works, but that's probably what I would do. Plus, I like going to bars, especially if they have a good jukebox or a good band or a good vibe. So I'm going to go to that bar. So imagine you go to the bar and you don't talk to anybody.
It's a shitty bar.
Yeah, no, dude, this sucks. I've been going to the bar for 9 weeks straight, and I haven't had one date. I'm like, bro, who you talking to? Oh, I got to talk to people. I'm like, yeah, you making eye contact, you smiling, you buying drinks. Like, what are you doing? I just go to the bar. You told me to go to the bar. You told me if I wanted a girlfriend, go to the bar. Like, to me, that's that person that goes to the networking function, and it's like, yeah, I went there, saw some people, but I don't have any loans. I don't have any leads. I'm like, oh, great. Or you have this one. I have nobody that goes to the bar. I'm like, you go to the bar? Hell yeah, go to the bar 9 weeks in a row. I'm like, man, how's that working out? Bro, I get hammered every night, but nothing's happening. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm like, yeah, you're going there getting hammered every night. Like, it's kind of hard to pick people up when you're incoherent and you're sloppy. You know, like maybe you got to go there and be a little bit more presentable. Maybe you need to go there and be a little bit more professional and attract what it is that you're looking for, because those actions aren't allowing it. So that's my two different polar opposites of two buddies that both want girlfriends that are getting angry because I'm giving them advice to go to bars. But it's like, what are you doing when you're at the bar? Same thing applies to the gym, because you and I like to go to the gym. We talk about it pretty often on the show. And I think about the person who's like, yeah, I have gym membership for 2 years, man. Nothing's changed. I was like, yeah, walk me through your workouts.
Well, I go to the gym. I put the weights on and I do my little whatchamacallits.
Yeah. Yep. So I go to the gym, right? And some people go to the gym. Like, what do you do?
Talk to my friends. Run my mouth.
Yeah. What does your heart rate get up to? Do you sweat? Does your shirt smell bad when you leave? Like, if the answer is no, because you're not sweating, because you're not working hard, then going to the gym, like, it's doing nothing for you. You're not going to get any results. It's the guy's like, yeah, man, I can't lose any weight. I'm like, yeah, what do you do at the gym? It's like, well, I do bench press, and I do squats, and I do curls. I'm like, yeah, anywhere I've read, if I studied, personal fitness, I don't think that's how you do it. Yeah. So my advice, my call to action for those that are out doing their job, which your job is sales, it's marketing, it's networking. That's our job. Our job is to get a lead. Please, when you're out networking, when you're going to these events, when you're hosting events, when you're working open houses, where the jam is that you're jamming to that day.
Yeah.
Please don't be my buddy who goes to the bar and doesn't talk to anybody. Please don't be my buddy who goes to the bar and gets smacked, at which point he attracts nobody. And please don't be the person who goes to the gym but doesn't get the heart rate up, doesn't break a sweat, and doesn't put in any work. Because showing up to the event is step 1 of 5. You have to show up. You have to be presentable. You have to be professional. You have to make a connection, get to know people, engage in small talk. Then the real work happens. That's when you connect outside of the event. That's when you follow up with text, emails, and DMs. That's when you start engaging in their social media content. That's when you ask them not once, not twice, but maybe 3 times over the next 6 weeks to join you, whether it's at another event, whether it's to attend one of your events, or whether it's to get face-to-face or Zoom to Zoom, so that you can find ways to bring value to them. And that came up in a conversation this week that I'm like hand to forehead, like, oh my God, are you serious? I can't believe I must be failing as a coach that someone were to think that all they have to do is show up. Showing up's the first step, but there's 4 more steps behind it.
Well said, Dustin.
So, John, I want to thank you for showing up, man.
Yeah, I guess.
You do a phenomenal job. Show up, produce this show, and let us do our thing. Y'all, if you like us doing our thing, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. First, refer the hell out of us. Friends, colleagues, anybody you think that'll benefit from this content, please let them know to listen to us. But make sure you go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have an entire YouTube channel. It's the TLOP YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure others subscribe. If you are a mortgage loan originator, we have a newsletter. It's free to sign up for. I write it. It comes out every week. Go to TLOP online. You can sign up for the newsletter there. It's free. And John, what do you say about free things?
If it's free, it's for me.
There you go. And then finally, if there was a finally, if you're looking for where we're going to be next, that too is on TLOP online. But his name is John Coleman. My name is Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today. We do look forward to catching you on the next episode.